So my simulator is running now. So let's run it again to see what we get. This is the launch screen, which is a blank white screen, and this is what we get. So it's a blank black screen. So first of all, we need to set uh, the background color of home view to white. By default on storyboard it's white, but by default via code it's black. So let's run it again to see if anything changes, which would not be the case because we have to do a couple of more adjustments. So we have a blank black screen again. So at least it's not the blue screen error message of death. So what we need to do is we need to set this property here. This property translates auto resizing mask into constraints for the home view as well. So in here we'll say home view translates false. Now let's run it again to see if this changes anything. So we have a blank white screen now, and the label is not showing. So something is not right. And that is that we have in, if you click in here, you'll get to this form here, and which is linked to the info.plist file over here. And in here, the main interface is defined as, excuse me, as the main.storyboard. So we'll get rid of this and delete this file here and run it again to see if we get the label on the screen. If for instance, yeah, if for instance you delete this main.storyboard file and you do not delete this main label over here, main text over here, you will get to a problem we'll see in a while. Yep. So this is the problem that I was referring to, and let's see what it says. So if we go to the top of this error message here, terminating app due to uncaught exception, NS invalid, argument exception reason, could not find a storyboard named main in bundle, NS bundle, and then the path to that bundle. So this is the problem that I often get into. So the thing you have to do is you have to remove this and now let's run it again to see if this error is resolved. So it has crashed again, and the same reason. So what we need to do is in here Control S and change to some other file, go to some other file, go back in here, and in here you can confirm that that property is not set. So now go back in here, confirm it's not here, and then run it again, and hopefully this time we'll not get into this issue. So there is nothing on the screen. We must have made another mistake. So let's go back in here, and yeah, the mistake is in the home view. So what we are doing in here is we have a view in home view controller, which is this one here. We are adding home view to that view, and then using auto layout constraints, we are constraining it to the view. But in home view, we have a label which is not added to the home view. So what we need to do is add it to the home view. So we'll make another function over here. We'll keep it private. We'll call it setup views, and in here we'll add subview label dot. We will center it in the screen. So we'll constrain its center x anchor to the center of the view, the home view. So center x, and then activate it. Similarly, we'll constrain its center Y anchor to the center Y anchor of the view, the home view. Now we need the widths and heights. So we'll say we'll constrain the width of the label to a constant of, let's say, 160, and then activate it, label, and height we'll say 36. So now the label is added to home view, and in here home view is added to the view, and we are presenting home view controller in app delegate. So now let's run it to see if it works. We still do not have a label over here. So let's see what might be the problem. So the problem is that we are setting this translates also auto resizing mask into constraints property after the home view is added to the view and the home view is instantiated. When home view is instantiated, this label is added to home view, but this property for home view is not set. So let's try this, that we set this property in here before we add this label to home view. So we have a blank black screen again. So fix this. So where did we set the view color of the view, the home view in here? We'll set this one here, we'll cut it from here and put over here, and run it again. Yeah, the problem is that the issue is not with coloring. The issue is that this function is not being called anywhere. So where do we call this function? We can call it in the initializer of home view. So we get this initializer function by default, since we are subclassing the UI view. The UI view has an open function, open initializer, init frame rect. So we'll say super init frame, give it the same frame here. So what this statement says is, do whatever you want that you do by default in the initializer, and after that we call set of views, and now this is giving us a warning, an error, that it requires another initializer. We'll fix it like this. So now let's run it again to see if the label shows up, which it should. Oh, we have something, but we have a problem. We constrained the label to the center of the view, but it is not in the center of the view. What did we do wrong? We did nothing wrong. The issue is that the label, let's give the label a background of red or blue to see how is the label laid out in the view. So this way you'll get to know what the issue is. So the issue is that the label is in the center of the view, both vertically and horizontally, but the text in the label is not centered. It is left aligned. So there are three options there are three options you have. One is left aligned by default, and the other one is centrally aligned, and the third one is right aligned. So what we're looking for is a centrally aligned label. So the text should be centrally aligned. So we will set another property for the label, that is text alignment, and we set it to center. And now let's run it again to see if it centers correctly. Yep, we've got a hello world label centrally aligned in the view. So now let's just comment it out to remove this blue background. It's very handy if you give your views, your labels, your buttons, your UI views, your scroll view, your content view, a background so that you know how exactly how it is laid out in the view, in the screen. So we have a hello world label in the center of the view. So that is it for this video. But please remember that this is the wrong way of doing things in MVC world. In MVC world, you don't do this code in the controller file. You do all the view code in view file, all the controller code in controller file, and all the data code in your model file. But more on that later. Have a nice evening. Bye bye.